A reading from the book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 23, Messianic Sayings, the Future King. Woe to the shepherds who lose and scatter the sheep of my pasture, declares the Lord. Therefore, thus says the Lord God of Israel about the shepherds who shepherd my people. You have scattered my flock. You have driven them away and have not taken care of them. Right, I shall take care of you for your misdeeds, declares the Lord. I myself shall gather the remnant of my flock from all the lands where I have driven them and bring them back to their fold. They will be fruitful and increase in numbers. I shall raise up shepherds for them to shepherd them and pasture them. No fear, no terror for them any more. Not one shall be lost, declares the Lord. Look, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I shall raise a righteous branch for David. He will reign as king and be wise, doing what is just and righteous in the land. In his days, Judah will triumph and Israel live in safety. And this is the name he will be called: The Lord is our saving justice. So look, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when people will no longer say, As the Lord lives, who brought the Israelites from the land of Egypt, but as the Lord lives, who led back and brought home the offspring of the house of Israel from the land of the north, and all the lands to which he had driven them to live in their own land. Against false prophets. On the prophets. My heart is broken within me. I tremble in all my bones. I am like a drunkard, like one overcome with wine, because of the Lord and his holy words. For the land is full of adulterers, because of the curse. The land is in mourning, and the pasturage in the desert has dried up. They are eager to do wrong, and their strength is not rightly used. Even prophet and priest are godless. I have found their wickedness in my own house, declares the Lord. Therefore their way will be like a slippery path in the dark. They will be driven along it and fall there. For I shall bring evil upon them when the year for their punishment comes, declares the Lord. In the prophets of Samaria, I have seen insanity. They prophesied in the name of Baal and led my people astray. But in the prophets of Jerusalem, I have seen something horrible. Adultery. They walk in lies. They strengthen the hands of the wicked, and no one renounces their wickedness. To me, they are all like Sodom, and its inhabitants are like Gomorrah. So thus speaks the Lord Sabaoth about the prophets. See, I am giving this people wormwood to eat and poisoned water to drink. For from the prophets of Jerusalem, godlessness has spread throughout the land. Thus says the Lord Sabaoth, do not listen to what those prophets prophesy to you. They are deluding you. They speak visions of their own, and not what comes from the Lord's mouth. To those who despise me, they keep saying, "The Lord has spoken. You will have peace." And to all who follow their own stubborn inclinations, no disaster will touch you. But who has stood in the Lord's counsel to see and hear his word? Who has paid attention to his word and listened to it? Look, the Lord's hurricane, his wrath bursts out, a fearsome hurricane to burst on the heads of the wicked. The Lord's wrath will not turn back until he has done and achieved his purpose. In the final days, you will understand this clearly. I did not send these prophets, yet they ran. I did not speak to them, yet they prophesied. Had they stood in my counsel, they would have proclaimed my words to my people and turned them from their evil way and from the wickedness of their deeds. Am I a God when near, the Lord declares, and not a God when far away? Who can hide in a secret place without my seeing them? The Lord asks. Do I not fill heaven and earth? The Lord asks. I have heard what the prophets say who prophesy lies in my name. They say, I have had a dream. I have had a dream. How long? Will the hearts of the prophets turn back, those who prophesy lies and prophesy the delusions of their hearts? They plan by means of the dreams that they keep telling one another to make my people forget my name, just as their ancestors forgot my name in favor of Baal. Let the prophet who has had a dream tell it for a dream, and let one who receives a word from me deliver my word accurately. What have straw and wheat in common? Asks the Lord. Is my word not like fire? Asks the Lord. Like a hammer that shatters a rock? So then, I have a quarrel with the prophets, says the Lord, who steal my words from one another. I have a quarrel with the prophets, declares the Lord, who wag their tongues to prophesy, repeating, says the Lord. I have a quarrel with the prophets who prophesy lying dreams, declares the Lord, who recount them and lead my people astray by their lies and their bragging. I certainly never sent them or commissioned them, and they serve no good purpose for this people, declares the Lord. And when this people, or a prophet or a priest, asks you, what is the burden of the Lord? You shall answer, you are the burden, and I shall get rid of you, declares the Lord. As for the prophet, the priest, or anyone else who says, the burden of the Lord, I shall punish them and their household. This is what you must say to one another among yourselves. What has the Lord answered? Or what has the Lord said? No longer may you use the expression, the burden of the Lord. For each person's word is the responsibility of that person, and you are perverting the words of the living God, the Lord Sabaoth, our God. So you should ask the prophet, what has the Lord answered? Or, what has the Lord said? But if you say, the Lord's burden, then thus says the Lord. Since you use the expression, the burden of the Lord, when I have warned you to stop saying, the burden of the Lord, I shall pick you up and fling you from my presence, you and the city I gave to you and to your ancestors. I shall bring down everlasting shame on you, everlasting and unforgettable disgrace. The word of the Lord. A reading from the book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 24, the 2 baskets of figs. The Lord showed me 2 baskets of figs set out in front of the temple of the Lord. This was after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had led Jeconiah, son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, away from Jerusalem into exile with the chief men of Judah, the blacksmiths and metal workers, and had taken them to Babylon. 1 basket contained excellent figs, like those that ripen first. The other contained very bad figs, so bad they were uneatable. The Lord said to me, "What do you see, Jeremiah?" I answered, "Figs. The good ones excellent, the bad ones very bad, so bad as to be uneatable." Then the word of the Lord was addressed to me. The Lord, the God of Israel, says this: "As these figs are good, so I shall regard as good the exiles of Judah, whom I have sent from this place to the land of the Chaldeans. My eyes will watch over them for their good, to bring them back to this land, to build them up, and not to break them down, to plant them, and not to uproot them. I shall give them a heart to know that I am the Lord. They will be my people, and I shall be their God, for they will return to me with all their heart. As for the bad figs, the figs so bad as to be uneatable, thus says the Lord, that is how I shall treat Zedekiah, king of Judah, his chief men, and what is left of Jerusalem, those who are left in this land, and those living in the land of Egypt. I shall make them an object of horror, a disaster to all the kingdoms of the earth, a thing of shame, a byword, a laughing stock, a curse, wherever I shall drive them. Sword, famine, and plague I shall send against them until they have vanished from the land I gave to them and to their ancestors. The word of the Lord.